Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to Live from Cleveland at Home tonight. Today, we are joined by a band that is traveling to us from a little farther than normal. We have the Intergalactic Public Squares on the show tonight. Hey, guys, how are you doing?
Wonderful.
Very good. Glad to be here.
Greetings.
Wherever here is.
And can you introduce yourselves for us all at home and tell us what you play in the band?
I reside in a human vessel called Brandon. They call me Thuck Apton, but I refer to myself as the voices of the many. I play the drums and sing.
And I reside in a human vessel named Bill. I am Dr. Rex Reason. I play the guitar and sing. I have been downloaded into the vessel named Steve. I am Regulus 9. I play bass.
He's right.
Human Vessels, where are you joining us from this evening?
It's hard to say because it's hard to pronounce.
There's no actual translation in the human language.
That's one of the downsides of these bodies is that they come with, only 5 senses. Fortunately, they are the perfect combination of senses to generate rock and roll music, which is our mission. So it works out for that. But there are certain limitations in which we just sort of roadblock,
Mm-hmm. So we've been joined by Public Squares before here on this earthly planet. When was the last time that or the first time that you remember playing on Live from Cleveland?
In a previous life, several of us performed back in the 1990s. It was a different time. We were different people.
Fond memories.
Yes.
And a few years ago, you were also able to fly in and join us at our Studio Irama event. We were very lucky to have you.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was very, very enjoyable.
How do you communicate with your fans out there in lieu of speaking and in different tongues? How are you connecting these days with the people who listen to you?
Rock and roll is a universal language, which sounds best in English. British accents work.
Japanese is very good.
Occasionally, but even they will often sing rock and roll in English. I think it's just it's its native tongue. It's by no means the most sophisticated language or the most beautiful, but again, adaptability within rock and roll is the mission, and we shall not get distracted.
What was that?
Uh-oh, enemies on the horizon. We're going to jump into a special performance that Public Squares has recorded for us in a little bit. But first, I want to ask, was COVID an issue on your planet? Did you have some setbacks with this virus?
It was an issue on Earth, which is where our mission is. So we're not always, in these bodies on Earth. It's multi-level and there's dimensions and stuff. It's really hard to explain. But the fact is we had to be traveling elsewhere in order to make music happen in other timelines. So it's kind of how we used that time. But we needed to get back to this mission. The COVID shutting down rock and roll, and that's what we've been saying for years now, is that they're going to come at rock and roll from all angles, and we can't let it win, because if rock and roll dies, so do all of you.
I feel that in my soul for sure. And
rock and roll.
100%.
That's where it feels best.
You are going to be having a show coming up, so you've finally accomplished your mission of coming back and being able to perform again here in Cleveland. Tell us the next time that you'll be returning to our planet.
July 15th at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum with Lily A, That's a Thursday night, part of their Rock Hall Live series, and we were very charmed that they would ask us to perform there, because I always knew that we'd be inducted sooner or later. I just they do it already, but we're happy to join the whole thing. And I don't know, do we put our hands in a cement or?
Yeah, they'll do some ceremony.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens. I don't want to get your hopes up too much, but
for whatever,
Sure. And do you know what time that's going to be happening up at the Rock Hall?
7.
I want to say 8, but get there early.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to run late.
Yeah, it always happens. There's traffic here, and it's something you have to deal with every time. We do have a few recorded performances from you coming on up here in the next few minutes here on Live from Cleveland. Can you tell me a little bit about recording these and how you chose what songs to perform for us tonight here on the show?
We're actually going to record them after we're done with this part. But
I messed my timeline up.
There's a time thing. We wanted to talk about it first, then record it and send it back. So you'll see it now, but we're going to do it a little later. But the first segment that we're going to do I'm on the Air and Pretty Things, which are both off our most recent physical release, which was titled From Up There. It was pressed on 12-inch vinyl. And it's a movie that exists in another dimension that stars the listener.
Very cool. Very cool. We're going to talk a little bit more about the songs when we come back, but I think that is a great segue into listening to the next performance from Public Squares. Here is Public Squares performing on Live from Cleveland in the future.
Tell me, do you think there is life on other planets?
Well, I'm not quite sure, but I suppose it would be.
You seem definitely.
Definitely.
How do you see this life and where?
Oh, I've seen a flying saucer.
Have you seen one?
Yes, definitely. At Lane Cove, 1953. Several other people with me saw it.
What did it look like?
It was standing up there still, with colours coming out of it. It was around.
Do you think this was sent from?
Transmission. I hope you've broken up the dial. Thank you for tuning in before I'm long out of style. A little overmodulated. It sounds better open wide. We've got minds to explore by the view light. The taste on your tongue. Ooh, that's all by design. And now the number one. And if it's driving you crazy, all the looping lines in your head. Well, if I got a gun, there will be silence and you will soon be dead. Hey, 'cause I'm on the air. I'm on the air.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back. That's dancing music right there for you, isn't it?
I did do a little dancing. I hope everybody listening at home virtually did as well. Is that one of the things that you're looking forward to most, is seeing Earthlings dance again out in the real world here?
It is.
Absolutely.
It is. Look, whatever your dance may be, we just want to see it. That's what we're trying to get out of you.
Don't be shy.
So many people are so hung up with their insecurities and their anxieties, and it's you can't rock and roll that way. You got to be your true self and be loose and let it out.
We just want to make you dance.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm saying it too literally. Do you guys have eyes underneath your visors?
Yeah, we're people.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
This was wondering.
The flesh is just like your flesh. It's what's controlling it is there's
The others.
I wanted to know, what sort of instruments are you all playing in these live tracks? Is there anything that you would recommend to us here on the show? Here we go. This is also why I love doing the live streams. We can kind of have a show and tell here.
Dr. Reason got this Telecaster right here. Tell him what that's made of.
Paint.
Now that's the first layer. Underneath that,
Uranium. Yeah, oh, that's right.
yeah, that's pure. That's pure.
Uncut.
Not everybody gets that. You got to go to a special dimension for that one. And then Regulus over here. Regulus builds his own weapons.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Got a tiger stripe on here.
Again, paint, but it's what's inside that counts, and that's what we're trying to say here.
And there's also the public squares insignia, the two squares overlapping. I don't know if you know this, but in Cleveland, we have a public square.
Yeah, that's actually when we first came to in these bodies, that's where we were. And I looked up and I saw that on the front of a bus. We were basically given a sign as to what we were to name ourselves.
Right there in front of us.
Yeah, our name is actually that symbol. That's our best way to say what that symbol is. So it's like a Prince thing.
Yeah. One day you'll just be formerly known as.
Prince was not from Earth. Let's be clear.
That's true.
We're not unique in that we do this. We're just the most outspoken.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any bands that you listen to here on this planet that have inspired you to kind of make the music that you make, the rock and roll that speaks to the masses?
Yeah, I mean, the history of rock and roll goes deep, and we dip from all of it really. To put any constraints on it is to limit yourself like that is no good. But I love the Misfits,
Descendants.
the Descendants, and but I love Led Zeppelin and Queen.
Aerosmith. Old Aerosmith, not that bull crap.
I love
The Crazy and Crying and all that. James Addiction and Leopard.
Yeah. And then I love garage music and mod music, and sometimes we'll listen to some heavy metal.
Megadeth. Slayer.
And I love stoner rock, and I love Fu Manchu, and of
Red
course
Fang.
Black Sabbath, and
Baroness.
we're a bit all over the place, and so our music just sort of comes out however it does. We like to call it heavy new wave.
Mm-hmm.
Because people really like when you can come up with 2 or 3 words that explains what you shouldn't try to describe
Right.
2 or 3 words. But, marketing is a part of the whole thing. But I think it's an interest. It would at least make someone think, I wonder what that sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I think we're doing, but it could grow into something a little different later. The first stuff that we made doesn't sound like the stuff that we're going to make tomorrow. So
It's definitely the point of this, is not to pigeonhole ourselves.
yeah, whatever ideas are
whatever.
beamed in, I just try to translate and get out.
Hmm. And that progression that's happened from the 1990s until today, have you found yourselves kind of exploring different genres? How would you say things have changed since
Yeah.
you were first, concepted?
We all started playing punk rock music together, and it was a very specific kind of punk rock music that was very big at the time, and it was this sort of music where you could get on like a Warped Tour or something like that, and so it. Even though our influences were a lot more broad than the, sort of the music scene that we were in, it kind of made you feel like you can't expand outside of that, or people will almost get mad that you're not doing the kind of music they want you to do. And it took a number of years to kind of shed that and just say, I'm going to make whatever music I want to make and whatever comes to me, and get out of it what you want, but don't expect and don't try to direct, what I'm going to produce. Just, accept it and I hope you dig it.
Mm-hmm. You're obviously, you're not doing it for the money. So the money doesn't even, it's a concept,
We have no idea about that concept.
So you might as
Literally
well
one of
just,
the only planets that does it.
Right. Right.
if you're not playing into capitalism, then you might as well, go from what's in your heart, what the rock and roll tells you to do.
Gotta see what they're doing over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's-
over on Earth. It's the
Monopoly?
craziest thing.
Monopoly?
Yeah, oh, that
they
game?
do that.
Oh my, for
Yes.
real.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I know. I wish I want to say that it's not true, but we do it. Yeah, it's
You have
shameful.
to buy records. Yeah.
Just
But
watch
anyway,
next.
I have stopped
Yeah.
doing it in
But that's why Earth needs saving
early
so
2000s.
much. That's why Earth needs saving the way it does.
Mhm. We were talking a little bit earlier, and you mentioned that there was a music video produced for one of the last songs that we heard you play in that small set. Tell us a little bit about putting that music video out. Obviously we all haven't been able to go to a live performance in quite a while. So was that something that you did kind of in lieu of being out and about in the world?
Yeah, we were trying to, keep ourselves sane and active, because these bodies get very upset if they're not being used for this purpose. So there were definitely a few times where we couldn't all be together. So we would just try to work, independently or digitally between each other to share some ideas. And anytime we could get together, we tried to use the time to create something. So we recorded a 2-song EP and made a video for one of the songs with our very good Earthling friend Leland James, who is a really good video editor. And then that song was called, what was that one called?
No Hope.
Yeah, No Hope. I like to say hope, like people from Philadelphia. Hope. No, I don't like that, but I like hope. I like that. Yeah, so we made those 2 songs and made that one video. And then the other song from those 2 songs was called Alice Eyes, and that'll be the first song in the next live segment. And that song is about my human self being given the luxury of traveling back in time to visit my 14-year-old self and spend the afternoon with myself. And I was out skateboarding. It was really hot July day. And I had to kind of pose as his dad to not throw everything off. And there
on a
were
road
rules
timeline.
involved. Like I couldn't spoil the future for him because it would change events, but I could ask him questions. So I wanted to remind myself of what was in my heart at the time. And so I asked, at this point in your life, what makes you you? And he looked at me and said, drawing Alice Cooper eyes on all the people on the cover of the TV Guide.
What do those look like? They're the makeup, like a little bunch of
Like the rounded up to the point on top and rounded to and then sometimes though you do the alternate several squigglies.
Mm-hmm.
You do the several squigglies up and down because he did that sometimes. That was mostly in the early days, but that's not the Alice eyes most people are going to know.
Gotcha.
Most people are going to know the kind. I think they're like Harlequin little diamonds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put the little blood coming out of the.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's what they look like.
Oh yeah, yes, exactly. Now I have the visual.
So there would be like Barney Miller or something on the cover of the TV Guide, and you'd give him a little
Barney
Alice
Miller.
Cooper. Yeah, that was the person, right? Oh yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's what that song's about. It's that same old song premise that you've heard a million times, just imagined my own way.
Okay, beautiful. That is also a great segue into watching another 2 videos from the future of a live performance by Public Squares here on Live from Cleveland and Home.
Strange to meet you out here, Father. No, I know who you are.
We are back with Public Squares here on Live from Cleveland at Home. The videos that we've been watching of you guys were recorded in the future, and I want to say that they are pretty similar to what a live experience with Public Squares would be like. Tell us a little bit about the live show.
Yeah, we emanate a certain lighting that represents our aura, which we are to some extent here, but we're just sitting around talking right now, so it's a bit of a dull aura. But you know, I really celebrate those 5 human senses to the fullest potential. Rock and roll doesn't always smell good, but that's because, I mean, if it did, people would just like burst. It would almost be too much. So, you know, rock and roll is a bit old beer and urine, but that's so that everything doesn't overwhelm you. You can't just like be all smiley the whole time, because then you're vulnerable to an attack. So you have to be used to a little bit of that dirtiness. Yeah. What was the question?
Yeah, like what a live show would be like. So actually, you're going right into that. We were going with the smell, the sights,
beer and your
the tastes.
well, a lot of places. I mean, Beachland has a tremendous kitchen. You know, so but while we're playing, try not to be chewing. It's distracting. But yeah, so we celebrate the senses with as much visual as we do auditory, because I mean you bothered to come with your eyes and all, so we want to give you a little something extra, as everyone should. You know, sometimes bands that don't seem to be doing a lot, you know, that's what they're doing, but this is what we do.
I think that you are already kind of going above and beyond, singing, not only being the main singer, but also the drummer. Is this something that you've always done, or is this something that you just do for Public Squares?
No, it's how I started. Nobody else would sing, and so I just tried. But I was only meaning to be a drummer, and then nobody else kept singing, and nobody else kept singing, and so I just kept singing, and then eventually kind of figured out how to do it a bit in tune. And so learning both at the same time made it so that that's just kind of all I know how to do. So once the drums are learned, then I don't think about what I'm playing on the drums much anymore, and I more feel like I'm a singer whose body is playing the drums. But I run out of air sometimes.
That I do the same thing. I have that issue, and I'm from here. I'm from this planet.
Doctor here has a lovely voice himself, and he sings lead on the song "Past the AUX" from Up There, our previous record. Which you know, I specifically wrote a song that I wanted him to sing. To, you know, I always like bands where another guy sang every now and then.
I'm that other guy.
Yeah, so he's the perfect other guy. Plus, look at his mane. Look at these. Look at this.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
Look at that.
You definitely need to do some hair flipping. You know, within the perfect. Way better than me.
Gets me going every time.
Is that kind of?
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Firing the stage manager. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. As soon as we leave here, get him gone.
Is that kind of how your songs come about? Earth Body Branded, are you doing most of the kind of the writing and bringing it to this group, or does everybody kind of participate equally and collaborate, if you will?
I will write what I consider the bones of the song. Sometimes it's I often write the parts that I do first, which is kind of backwards. Traditionally, a lot of rock and roll, of course, is written on the guitar. or even the bass, which I will do sometimes. But a lot of times I'll get more of a rhythm and a vocal melody in my head, and then I have to reverse engineer what music goes under that, which I hear in my head, but then have to translate. I can play enough bass and guitar to sort of crudely get the idea down, and that's just to sort of give these guys the general feel and the notes that are there, but then let them turn that into what it ultimately becomes. So my demos will sort of sound like prehistoric versions of the songs.
I love that you are all participating in analog learning and not using any technologies in order to help assist you do this. So that is also quite memorable as well.
You have to make sure the machines are working for you and that you're not working for the machines.
So true. So true.
About that. And it was a warning.
We also talked a little bit earlier, or maybe it was later, about how you were going back through old demos a little bit in this past Earth year to sort of clean up some of your repertoire a little bit and make some new material. Tell us a little bit about what you kind of did with your time here within the last annual year.
Yeah, a shutdown like that, it seemed like all the free time in the world to create music, but it's not a very inspiring feeling in the air on this planet during that time. And so ideas would still come, but the motivation to see them flourish wasn't there for the most part. I was able to finish out a few ideas, and we did finish an EP. But the rest of the ideas sort of sat in that little idea form. And then as soon as things started to open up and we started to talk about live shows again, I instantly wanted to start going back and going through those and finishing them all. So it's obvious that performing live and creating new music to perform live in the future is, some sort of natural life cycle that makes the most sense.
I think a lot of the inspiration comes from the playing live.
Yeah,
it builds you into
definitely made
creating.
us more excited about playing than not being able to play at all.
It's like making a sandwich when you ain't even hungry.
That is a absolutely correct metaphor there. That is really, really, really true. And you will be hungry very soon.
Be good by the time you want to eat it. I'm sorry, I've taken it too far. I should.
No. You will be playing very soon. Public Squares does have a show at the Rock Hall for their Thursday summer live series. It's going to be coming up on July 15th. So if you just joined us, you can put that on the calendar. That's the next time that you can see them. And what are we going to hear next? There's 2 more songs that you have done live performances of for us tonight here on the show. What are those 2 that we are going to be hearing?
The first song is called Modern Medicine. It would be our power pop hit if there were still hits. And the second song is a song that one of our favorite Earthlings, Lachlan McKinnon, once told me, "Don't ever play live without playing that song." So we have taken that advice and always played this song live. It is called "There Have Been Rumors."
Perfect. All right. Well, we are going to be listening to both of those songs by Public Squares here on Live from Cleveland at Home. Stick around because when we come back, we will be learning where we can find all of this music on the interweb from Public Squares. Next.
Been saving this one for you special.
look on your face, always staring in space with a flashing vacancy sign in your eyes. If you feel any guilt when doctor sends you the bill, don't worry, he can write you out a little something for that. Some of us don't wanna just make it go away. I don't need modern medicine. Don't want modern medicine. Don't need modern medicine. Just let me bleed hope for medicine. No, you see me getting out of my mind. I do it all the time. Never said I wasn't angel. There ain't a recreation of your situation. No, no. So what's left of it all when you woke it up? Counting down the hours till your next refill. Need a little fight. Nothing grows without the rain. If you don't say the bad, how you gonna know when it's alright? Sometimes I get upside, baby, clear outside. Don't need modern medicine. I don't want modern medicine. I don't need modern medicine. Just let me bleed hope for medicine. I don't need modern medicine. I don't want modern medicine. I don't need modern medicine. Just let me bleed hope for medicine. No, I don't want modern medicine. Modern medicine. Modern medicine. So hold your medicine.
I heard a little something. I doubt it's true.
There have been rumors. Pay no mind, pay no mind. There have been rumors. Pay no mind, pay no mind. There have been rumors. Pay no mind, pay no mind. So why you shaking? If you got nothing to hide. You why you shaking? If you got nothing to hide. If you ain't faking, then you got nothing to hide. Everybody saying body just isn't so. All the things I'm hearing are too bad to be true, and I just can't take it. Just can't take it. Just can't take it. Whoa! There have been rumors. Pay no mind, pay no mind.
Here we are, back with Public Squares. We just watched their live performance, recorded for us here at home so that we could see it in our laptop or our TV or however you may be streaming your music these days. Thank you for having joined us. What is that? What am I looking at?
That's our 12-inch vinyl release called From Up There. Order it on our Bandcamps.
Can you tell us one time where people can go to get more information about Public Squares, either on Bandcamp or perhaps maybe you have a Facebook page? Where's the best place to reach you out in the galaxy?
Yeah, we got all that. I like our Instagram the most. Regulus here runs it. And if you've never seen our Instagram, then you've got like a few years worth of really fun visuals and artwork and show flyers and live images of us and all kinds of stuff. But that's like a really great tool to express the art in yet another way, you know. So we use that a lot to announce things, and we try to be, you know, where the people are looking for the rock and roll. You can't try to hide it. You shouldn't hide it.
On your Bandcamp, how many releases do you have on there? I know we mentioned that you have at least 2 albums out. How many are there in total there?
There's like a few EPs of sometimes you just write like 3 songs and then you just want to get those out because recording is really fun when you're doing 3 songs and can be like a little bit more of a feeling like a labor when you do a whole bunch of songs sometimes.
Right.
But then other songs, other times, like with this record here, we only had maybe 5 songs when I started making it, but then it started to develop into this bigger thing, and so songs were sort of created in order to fill gaps in this story. It's a sort of a conceptual thing where all the songs are divided up by bits from the movie that doesn't exist here, but does exist. And so, yeah, so we have this record, and then before that we had 6 songs on a square 8-inch vinyl called NWRP. And then digitally that exists with 6 more songs. So that was 12 songs. And it was a lot of new songs and a lot of re-recorded versions of songs that were on the original. And that stuff is all on Spotify and Apple Music and all that streaming stuff and the Bandcamp and, you know, you're savvy, you'll get it.
I think space is overtaking you just a little bit at your headquarters there. Before we go, do you have any advice for our listeners? Maybe our listeners have lost the rock and roll in their soul. So besides listening to Public Squares, what can they do to take back the rock and roll and be their own person?
We're believers in that it that's happening on its own. Isn't that crazy? It's you know, it built from the ground up there, and so you want to support your smaller local bands, your smaller local shows. You know, there's going to be people at those big gigs that start coming back around. You know, that's great. You know, people will go see those guys, but don't forget about all the shows that are happening in between there. Your smaller places, your bars. It doesn't matter what they're playing. If there's people playing instruments and playing rock and roll music or rapping or doing anything else or DJing rock and roll music or whatever they're doing, if people are out there creating it and looking to make people dance, then man, just show up and have a good time and support it.
We thank you so much, Public Squares, for showing up tonight and being on the program. It was a pleasure to have you. And if anybody out there would like to see these human flesh vessels again, you can see them at the Rock Hall show that they have coming up on July 15th. You can go to rockhall.com for more information. I'm sure that's also on Public Square's Facebook page as well as the Rock Hall. So thank you all so much. And we're going to sign out. say goodbye to everybody out there in the virtual landscape.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will see you soon.